My daughter once put a sign on her bedroom door. It read, "No brothers allowed." Fair enough. Hey, anyone who's had a big brother, you know the pain. But one day as I climbed the creaky stairs up to Amy's room, I noticed the sign had changed. It now read, "No phones." Bedtime was our routine. But now, while Amy was getting into her Dalmatian onesie and picking out a book, I'd be sinking into another world, the one on my smartphone. I told myself it was important. After all, I'd created one of the world's first specialist social media consultancies. I had to stay connected. But Amy didn't agree. With one hand, she'd be holding out the book, while the other would be angrily knocking away my phone. And then that sign went up. It wasn't easy to change. My phone was my business, my social life, my addiction. My wife would complain that the last light in our bedroom every night came from my smartphone. It's no wonder we made 3 children. I get those phantom vibrations, you know, where you feel your phone's ringing in your pocket and it's not at all. Or worst of all, it's not even in your pocket. Any excuse to pick up my phone, I would take it to check things I really didn't need to know, such as what was the follow-up single to Kajagoogoo's Too Shy? Or how tall is Taylor Swift? Although, how tall is Taylor Swift? Still thinking, this is the problem with technology.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
One more time. So, how tall is Taylor Swift? I'm imagining she's going to be 5'10". Taller than you thought. I know that. Yeah, absolutely. But the problem wasn't really with phones. The problem was really about belonging. See, I get my belonging when I'm with people who love me for who I am. Family, friends. In places where I know I can truly be myself. Home, at church, in various communities. But here I was, unbeknown to me, looking for belonging through my phone. Where do you get your belonging from? Where do you feel it? The trouble was, my family were losing out and losing me because of my own search. At first, I actually thought the problem was just with children. Here I was making millions for our clients through social media, but I began to see the negative impact that social media and phones were having on young people. And then when a deputy head teacher told me that 95% of issues in his school were sparked by social media, I knew I had to act. So my wife and I set up a charity to go into schools to help children make better decisions about social media and smartphones. We do little interactive workshops. In fact, let's try one now. It's called the Perfect Day Scenario. So I'd like you all to either close your eyes or look down at the floor if you're sitting next to somebody who's a bit dodgy looking. Okay, in your perfect day, where would you be? Where would you be? Who'd you be with you? Who'd be there with you? What would you be tasting? How'd you be feeling? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to bring you back into the room. Some of you look like you're having a bit too much of a good time there. So, who in your perfect day thought, I really must spend time scrolling on my smartphone? Nobody, of course not. Why would we let our smartphone ruin our perfect days? And when we ask the same question of young people, they say the same. They don't want to be on their phones either. But during one of the sessions, an 11-year-old girl looked me in the eye and she said, "Mr. Saxby, how can I stay off my phone when my parents are always on theirs?" And I had no good answer. She was searching for belonging through her parents, and her parents were searching for belonging through their smartphones. You see, we gain our belonging from that we give our attention to. And for many of us, we belong to our phones. Smartphones promise connection, but all too often they replace the deeper human relationships that give us a true sense of belonging. Belonging in ourselves, and that we never give our minds a moment's rest. Belonging in our homes, where they're in body, but we're not there in spirit. Belonging in our communities, we scroll through the illusion of connection rather than creating it. Who of us feels we're on our phones more than we want to be, more than we should be? Yeah, most of us. It's no wonder we're addicted to dopamine, the brain's happiness chemical. In fact, it's been a while now. I need to give myself a dopamine rush now. I don't even need to switch it on. Just the anticipation of a shiny screen is enough. How do you feel when you're accidentally parted from your phone? Relief or panic? Does your phone belong to you, or do you belong to your phone? I learned a lesson, an important lesson, many years ago from an unlikely hero about belonging. His name was Colin. So Colin used to work for me, but he didn't like the shift I put him on. He said, I never get away on time. So I thought I'd watch him. Was he disorganized? Was he bad at delegating? No. His problem was MSN Messenger. Kind of an early uncool version of WhatsApp. So what would happen is Colin would be sitting down and he'd be typing up doing some work on his keyboard. Message would come through on MSN. Bing! He'd look up. He'd read the message, return to his keyboard, answer the question. Get back to work again. Bing! Another message. Look, read, respond. And this went on. Bing, 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 bing. It was like sitting next to an angry microwave. And I said to him, Colin, if you want to get away on time, you need to close down MSN Messenger. Well, Colin didn't agree, but he agreed to give it a try. Some would have said he'd have got more done if he'd plugged his computer keyboard in. Next day, in comes Colin. Mark, it worked. I got away on time. When Colin closed down MSN Messenger, he wasn't shutting out his friends. He was choosing where to belong. Picture the scene. You're at work. A message comes through on the family WhatsApp group, where else? And it's Auntie Jean, and she's on holiday in Pisa, and she sent a photo. Bless her. And there she is, standing in front of in the Leaning Tower, and the sun is shining, and she's got the most enormous gelato in her hand, and you're there under strip lighting eating the sad sandwich, and your world suddenly seems so much smaller. Because that's what phones do. They bring our personal life into work, and our work into our personal life. So we never truly switch off, and our mental health suffers. We will never find belonging in our own lives if we're forever peeking into the lives of others. Let's do another exercise to illustrate it. Now I can count to 26 in about 6 seconds, and I can recite the 26 letters of the alphabet in about 5 seconds. But what about if we combine the two tasks? You know, A1, B2, C3. Pretty simple, eh? Okay, so let's do it all together. Okay, A1, B2, C3. Come on. It's harder than we think, isn't it? Harder than we think. Because what's happening is we're task switching. Our brain is going from one task to another, and it resets every time we do it. And that's what happens every time we pick up our phone when we should be working. Studies show we spend on average 2 hours a day using our mobile phones for personal activities when really we should be working. That's 24 days a year. Our holiday entitlement that's spent on a device. And we call it connection. Now we could talk to our colleagues about it. Surely they'll all be going through the same sort of challenges. The trouble is, though, is that we don't really know them anymore. Because those days of sitting down, eating lunch together, finding out about life, enjoying breaks, they're over. Nowadays, they're more likely to be shopping online, arranging their next holiday, or worst of all, sitting downstairs in the car park, watching Netflix on their phone. And therefore, then we don't feel like we know anybody at work, and therefore we don't feel like we belong. And we go searching for belonging elsewhere, in another job, and the cycle begins all over again. Now, I could give you loads of tips and tricks to help you readdress your relationship with your phone. But the biggest thing I had to change my mindset. I had to decide who or what I wanted to belong to. Because all the best intentions in the world will be lost if you don't change your mindset first. You'll carry on belonging to your phone. That sign on Amy's door showed me I'd become the sort of dad I never wanted to be. One who was detached, selfish in my own world, not present. Not only was I putting my phone, not only was I putting myself before Amy, I was putting a cold, hard piece of metal before her too. It was time to reclaim bedtimes and a whole lot more. It's been a challenge. Some days I get to the end of the day and I've been on my phone just 30 minutes. I know I've led a full life that day. But other days it's 2, 3, 4 hours. But the good news is the next day starts afresh. Now, don't get me wrong. I think smartphones are amazing. Without smartphones, I'd have got lost on the way here. I'd listened to less great music on the journey, and I may never have found out that oo to be are was the answer to my Kajagoogoo question. But my motto in life is simple: to live it in abundance. And you don't find abundance on a phone screen. What one thing could you do today to reclaim belonging? Where do you need to be? Who do you need to be with? That son on Amy's door is now gone. Sadly, the Dalmatian onesie no longer fits her. She's 12 now, but occasionally we still read together, just me and her. No phones. I'm glad I chose where to belong. Because belonging is not found on a device, it's found in those moments we refuse to miss. Where will you choose to belong today?